Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Summer Meyers. I am a homeschool mom of 5 kids, and on this channel we talk about all things homeschool. And today I wanted to talk about things that you are already doing that you should count towards your homeschool. This is a special collab video that I'm doing with Alicia over at Iron House Homeschool. I love Alicia. I love all of the content that she puts out. She does a lot of craft and artwork with her kids and shows you how to do it. And it's very inspiring, and I love watching her stuff. I'm gonna have her channel link down in the description box below, as well as the playlist link. So make sure you to click on that after watching this video. So here's the thing. When I first started homeschooling, a lot of moms were like, you should count grocery shopping. You should count, trips to the library, field trips, going out and doing X, Y, and Z as homeschool. And I was like, okay, sure, life experiences, those count, but do they really? Do they really? And what does that mean that it counts? I mean, as far as my state is concerned, all I have to do is take attendance. They don't check up on my, my curriculum choices or any kind of my records or anything like that. It's very low key. So what do I count as homeschool work towards their greater education and knowledge? So here are some ideas. I have some thoughts. So with preschool, I am a very hands-off preschooling homeschool mom. I was not one of those moms that was all gung-ho when my kids were like 3 and 4, getting them into workbooks and that sort of thing. I think preschool is a lot about developing fine motor skills, developing muscles, and interaction with the wider world. But those things count as homeschool, and those are great prep work for educational workbooks in the future. So what do I mean by that? One of my favorite preschool activities is Play-Doh, and I have a great Play-Doh recipe. I'll link that down in the description box below. I love Play-Doh for many reasons. If you look at a child's hand before the age of, like 5 or 6, you see their bone structure is still very spaced. Their muscle hasn't really developed, and that's because it's still growing and changing almost on a day-to-day basis. Play-Doh builds up those muscles in the hands. So if your child is struggling with handwriting, it might not be because they are lazy or whatever. It might be because their muscles are just not strong enough. Play-Doh and manipulating it is an excellent way of building that strength. So even though it's technically not school because it's Play-Doh, it absolutely counts in building up those foundational skills that you're going to be looking for in those upper elementary years. So even if you don't have a toddler preschooler, even if it's like a kindergartner, first grade, second grader who is struggling with handwriting, get that Play-Doh out, get them moving their hands and building up that strength. Another excellent tool to use for building up that strength and also learning how to draw are mazes. My toddler is still, she's not a toddler anymore. She's like, she's turning 5 in like a month, but she's still my toddler. And we got her a massive book. I'm not even talking, I'm like thick book of just mazes. And some of them are a little over her head. However, just manipulating the pencil or the crayon or whatever the heck she's decided to use that day around the corners and that logic thinking. I mean, that's also math as well, where you're problem solving and you're trying to get from point A to point B. So many skills that mazes, just a basic maze, hits. Logic, problem solving, fine motor skills, holding a pencil correctly. All of that is building foundation blocks for later on. Also tied in with mazes is dot to dot. My daughter loves doing dot to dot. Also practicing holding pencil grip. It's also practicing with numbers. So she has a dot to dot book that is like goes up to 100. No way am I expecting my 3, 4, 5-year-old daughter to do all the way up to 100. She's gonna skip around. But the idea of her being able to visualize the shape, oh, it's a bird, oh, it's, I don't know, an insect. She recognizes where she's supposed to go, and she's repeating a number sequence, which helps with her numerical value. It's also helping her with her logic solving, and it's helping her with her fine motor skills. So that counts. Glue. Okay, so I have a couple of things about glue. I like stick glue because it's easy, quick. you can do it. However, I only use stick glue with my bigger elementary school kids. The big Elmer's glue, you know, with the wattles, it is such a mess. It is such a mess. I totally get it. However, getting them to practice squeezing it, getting them able to control the amount of flow in glue, and also problem solving and realizing I don't need quite that much. In the beginning, it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be a disaster. You just have to accept the fact. But being able to manipulate it with their hands, they're building muscles, and also being able to think through how much do I need? What do I need it for? Where am I going to place it? These are all skills that a preschooler really needs to learn and develop. So get them the wet glue and just know it's going to be a mess. And that's okay. It's usually washable. Get the washable kind. When you think about elementary school, what are some basic activities that you already do that count as homeschool? And I'm going to say games. The reason why I'm talking with games with elementary school age kids is because typically those games have math involved without you even realizing it. They have word association without you even realizing it. And it's great team building exercises. It's great communication and group skills. You know, a lot of people outside of the homeschooling community frequently point out, well, what are they doing for group exercises when they're supposed to work as a team, when they're supposed to work as a group? Games, man, games. You play those, and those are excellent group activities, teaching a child how to work with others, how to be a good player, how to lose properly without, you know, having a meltdown. There's lots of skills in playing just a regular board game. So here are my 3 favorite board games that I love to play with my elementary school kids. The first one is Apples to Apples. Every family I know owns Apples to Apples, and if you don't, then I don't judge you, but you should go get it. It's just a nice game. It's an easy game to play. Now, Apples to Apples might seem like an obvious one. There is adjectives involved, there's word association involved, there's basic reading skills, there's also dictionary where you're learning new words. And it's just a fun, easy game to pull out and play as long as you want or quit as soon as you want. I find that we can play a quick game in like 10 minutes and then we can go run and do our thing. So if we're like kind of in limbo waiting for our next activity, it's an easy thing to pull out. So all of those great skills of word association, defining new words, and team building and whatever, those are all found in this game. And I love that for that reason. Another game that we love to play is Ticket to Ride. I know this is like a famous game that everybody loves to enjoy. I like it because there are many different varieties of it. They have the European, I think they've got Germany, they've got the USA, which is what we have. And it gives them a general feeling of geography and movement and where places are on the map and getting to go there. It's very much, in that sense, it's very much imaginative because you know, you're not really going anywhere. You're building trains on a map. But the idea of charting out an adventure, charting out where you're going to go and how you're going to get there. There's a lot of logic involved in that. And there's also counting, also math, where you're doing the counters all the way around and adding up all of your points. That's a great math activity that is almost unintentional. And you should absolutely let your early elementary school kids be adding up their scores as they're going instead of just like waiting until the very end, just because it seems less overwhelming for them, as well as giving them a sense of accomplishment when they do it themselves. Okay, so the next one is a game that we have recently done this past year. It's called Splendor. Oh my gosh, I have played so many games of Splendor this past year. My second oldest, she loves Splendor. And I love it too. I really enjoy it. It's a super quick, easy, fast game. There is math involved where you're trying to get up to a certain number in order to win. So if you've got a certain amount of points, then the game is won. So it's easy addition that you're building up towards. There's also logic. It's also great in showing how to strategize, but also being a good player. So the caveat with playing games is that sometimes you have somebody who is super logical. Like my oldest is like, she like knows the rules and she strategizes down to the point so she can just win. And she's very much like my husband's family where they just win games all the time. And then I have a couple of kids who are less interested in strategy and more interested in just the enjoyment and having fun with it. And so having that give and take and saying you got to learn some strategy so you can win, but don't strategize the game to the point where you are just beating everybody to beat everybody and learning how to work as a group, even if it isn't a cooperative game necessarily. And so that's interesting to pull. And I think those count as homeschool wins. Homeschool win. For my middle schoolers, so focusing on 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds, I'm going to go a little different route, and I'm going to say physical activity and sports. So we do a lot of camping, we do a lot of hiking, and those are all skills that I count as homeschool because there's a bunch of other subset skills that you kind of need to know. You need to be able to plan ahead, and make a logical plan that will help you in the future. So when they go on a big backpacking trip, my husband's planning a backpacking trip literally tomorrow. It's the spur of the moment. And they are coming up with the list of what food they can bring, how much weight they can carry, what they're going to need to sleep in. Is the temperature a little colder up there in the mountains because it's winter? And how much water, where they're going to get their water. How long do they want to be gone? So how much mileage can they cover in that time? And having your kids plan it out gives them a great sense of self-confidence in their ability when they're facing new life experiences. So they know that they can survive based on what they have prepared. Hiking as well, because that is a physical form of activity where they are learning where their limits are for their body and training and trying to reach new goals, setting goals, and making them. Right? And what they need to do in order to accomplish them. So there's a lot of planning involved in that as well. A subset of camping would be first aid, understanding what you need to do in order to, if something bad were to happen, if somebody were to have a fall, and knowing proper bandaging and cleanliness and that sort of thing. That's part of what we incorporate when we go camping. Also, another subset would be where you are at and orienteering. We haven't done this quite as much because I don't know, just hasn't come up yet. But that's what my husband is goal for this year. He's going to be taking out maps and compasses and talking them through getting themselves out of a situation where they get lost or whatever, and what they need to do to prepare for that. The last activity that I wanted to mention is animal care. So we do not live on a farm. We're like, not the stereotype homeschool where we live on a farm and have our animals and our hay. I would totally do it, guys. I would totally just get a farm and goats. I mean, I would do it. But we don't. We live in suburbia. But we do have 2 animals. We have a dog and a cat. Animal care, I absolutely count towards homeschooling learning. Learning to care outside of yourself, anticipating somebody else's needs, and that comes with food, water, exercise. And also just attention and nurturing, knowing how to approach a dog, knowing how to take care of a cat, knowing how to take care of a fish or a gerbil or whatever. Those animal skills are skills. And I know a lot of adults now who don't have them, who don't know how to approach a dog, who don't know how to save or rescue an animal or whatever. Like they just don't have those skills. And I can't fault them for it. If you didn't grow up with it, then you don't know. So if you do have an animal, absolutely count that towards your homeschooling and take a special interest in teaching and passing on that knowledge to your children. So those are my ideas for things that you might already be doing that should probably count as homeschooling. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, like, subscribe. Again, check out Alicia's channel down below in the description box, as well as the playlist for other activities. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week. Bye. All those gray hairs. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Summer Meyers. I'm a homeschool Meyer. Is this? It's still recording, but the little red dot's not there, and let's freak them out. Okay. Also.